Is the U.S. going to get more involved?
I don't know about more involved, but it's certainly going to have the first face-to-face communications with the finance minister of Greece, Yanis Varoufakis. He's here in Washington for the IMF World Bank spring meetings. He's going to meet with the president briefly tomorrow, and then he's got a face-to-face meeting, first one with Secretary Lew. And I asked Secretary Lew what the message is going to be to Greece. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Greece needs to get down to the technical work of making a list of the changes and the policies that it's prepared to put in place so that it can work with the institutions to come to a mutual understanding of a path forward so that they can get out of the cycle of being in kind of one crisis to another. I think the rhetoric was not helpful early on, and I sent a signal to both the Greek government and to the institutions, as they're now called, that everyone had to tamp down the rhetoric and get to the technical work of seeing what policies can be put in place to address this. Obviously, it would be better if the work had been done 6 weeks ago and not over the next 6 weeks. But there's no time to waste, and the work needs to be done.
Does the U.S. have?
And just to be clear, my understanding is the president's going to be speaking to the Hellenic Celebration Day, and
he'll be there. Yes,
it's not a bilateral meeting.
Gotcha. Does the U.S. have an economic interest in making sure Greece stays within the Eurozone? Is this something in play for the United States?
Look, I think that there's no doubt that if this leads to a crisis such as Greece leaving the Eurozone, it will cause an enormous amount of disruption and hardship in Greece. I have said consistently that no one should think that all of the risk of a change like that is predictable in advance. And even if the contagion risk is much less now than it was, say, in 2012 and earlier, it would not be a good thing in a world economy just recovering from a deep recession to have that kind of uncertainty introduced.
Peter, what else did you learn from Secretary Lew?
Well, I learned from Secretary Lew that even though we see signs of a slowdown here in the United States, that during the course of these meetings this weekend, Pim, he's going to try and light a fire under Europe, Japan, China to do more to try and boost growth by making particular policy decisions. He says they've been holding back on pulling those levers, a lot of the levers that the United States pulled. I also learned that he's not a complete subscriber to Larry Summers' view of secular stagnation as being a real risk out there. He thinks there's steps that can be taken to boost global growth and growth here in the U.S. And finally, Pim, I also heard that he does not think tax reform is dead here in Washington. Some have already put the nail in the coffin for tax reform this year, given the gridlock here in D.C. He says don't buy it. He says there should be more optimism out there because there's still people, Republicans, Democrats, who are on the same page on some of the same issues.